guys, I'm back with another Darkgirl Chronicles. Hi. It's been a couple of months and some stuff has happened. First and foremost, I'm sitting in my kitchen. That's why it's slightly weird looking back here, but I am here in my kitchen. And I'm getting ready to cook Sunday dinner. I just haven't gotten started just yet. It's about 2 o'clock. And that person shall be home. We're going to get to him in just a second. But, hi. So, let's start out with the big news, which when you see the title of this, you're going to be like, oh, wow, they finally did it. Yes, we did. We got married. So you see, guys, my diamond. I'm gonna try to get a little closer. My diamond right now. I really don't want a diamond. I had a white sapphire, and you guys had seen that. I've worn it on camera, which is my second engagement ring. Okay, so my white sapphire is my second one. And that one I had to get because my first one, which was an emerald engagement ring, kind of got lost in the kitchen. And when we just had our kitchen redone, the floor redone in the kitchen, they had to move our stove. And so I was like, let's look under the stove and find out whether or not it's moved. Like, if once we move it, did the ring go under the stove? No, it turns out no. So I was like, damn it. So I was like, okay, well, so much for that. I kind of figured it hadn't gone under the stove. I figured it had gone out in the trash. This happened like 3 years ago. So in that time since, I got another engagement ring. Like, he got another ring for me. He proposed again. And that one was a white sapphire. Well, white sapphire, because they have to keep resizing my band for the ring, I have to get it fixed because my band keeps popping. So I'm like, can y'all just not have this? Do y'all not have this in my size? Like, what are we doing? So yeah, I gotta get another one. But this is my placeholder, this one that I have on right now, but I also have on my actual wedding band also. And he's wearing his wedding band. So, okay, this is what happened. Short version is we decided we were going to go ahead and get married this year because, we didn't know when we were going to be able to get married. We had no idea. So, I was like, well, because, coronavirus, which thank God we're going to get to that too. Thank God it's kind of sort of calming down now, a year after the fact. It's calming down. People are getting vaccinated. It's not nearly as bad as no vaccine. So, and both of us, like I said, I'm going to get to this in a minute, but both of us are now fully vaccinated. We're both considered fully vaccinated. He got vaccinated. His first shot was January, and then his second shot, he got Pfizer. His second shot was February. It was like right after right before Valentine's Day. So he's been fully vaccinated since the middle to end of February. I got my first shot on April 7th, and then I got my second shot of Pfizer, because I got Pfizer. I got second shot of Pfizer on April 30th. So as of Friday, I have been considered fully vaccinated. And so I'm cool. I'm really good. I had no side effects. Neither one of us had real, side effects. We had mild side effects. Like, he had a backache and his arm hurt where he got the injection. I had what's called COVID arm, which is where your arm itches where they do the injection. That was only on my second shot when I got it. So, and both shots, my arm felt like I had gotten a tetanus shot. And everybody who's gotten a tetanus shot knows how that feels. It feels weird, and your arm hurts for a while. But my arm only hurt for 2 or 3 days, and then I was fine. I didn't have any like headache or anything like that. I did have mild fatigue with the second shot. But I was also really tired because I was doing stuff for our Mortal Kombat encyclopedia, and we had this deadline coming up, and I was like, I gotta get this done. I've got to be on time with this and do my part. So I stayed up all night to get some stuff done, and that contributed to the fatigue. So I think it was more that than the Pfizer shot that made me tired. But yeah, we both fully vaccinated. So I said, okay, listen, by the time we do this, why don't we do this on our anniversary this year? So this year, if you guys have been following, and you should have been, if you're a regular viewer of Darkgirl Chronicles, we started dating in 2013, April 15th, 2013. Okay. So this year marks 8 years. So I was like, why don't we just do it on our anniversary? And that way you won't have to like sit up here and try to remember both dates and all of that. No, let's just go ahead and get it done, because we don't know when we're going to be able to have a reception and big giant wedding like we were planning to do. So that's what we did. We wound up getting a few little things together. I got my clothes together. I got a dress. I ordered a green, really pretty deep green like swing dress from Amazon. It's a Grace Karen, which it matches. It's the same brand like I have for my underskirt, because I have a crinoline underskirt that I got that was Grace Karen, and I got it off of Amazon. So I said, well, I'll just get a little dress off of Amazon. I already have my jewelry, which I did. I had some of my mom's jewelry that she left for me, and I wore like her pearls, and I had like one of her brooches. She had like it was like a leaf brooch, and it was gold. And so our colors are green and gold, so they matched those colors. It was perfect. It matched perfectly. I also got a fascinator and to wear, and I thought it turned out wonderfully. He wore a suit that he already had, and we ordered. He got his shoes shined, and he had some brown shoes. So I was like, oh, okay, we'll get these brown, we'll match these brown shoes with your other accessories. So that's what we wound up doing. He matched his, we bought a brown felt hat, and he looked really good with his hat. So he wears hats really well. I mean, Brandon wears clothes well in general. So it was like, oh, okay, well, I mean, he gonna look good regardless. So we matched his hat and his shoes together, and it worked out perfectly. We had already had some suspenders because we'd done our engagement photos in 2019. We wound up doing that, and so we bought suspenders to go with that. So he matched his suspenders. He had a white shirt and a deep green emerald tie, which was perfect because we had ordered those ties for our groomsmen for our big ceremony. So he just wore one of those ties, and we went and got it. We got so I'm looking here. I have it sitting here with me, so you guys can see. I know you can't really read the writing, but there you go. You can see it now. So it says marriage license. So yeah, we got our marriage license. We had a little short ceremony. We had 11 people, which I ain't gonna lie to you guys. The deja vu from my first wedding was kicking in the whole time, because I was like, this is really spur of the moment, and 11 people, and but it was, both of his parents were there, which was weird. So both of his parents came, and his stepmom, which I was not expecting her to come. I didn't think she would want to. So we're gonna get to his parents in a minute. But his parents came, his cousin, I'm trying to think who else was there. So it was the three of them. My sister-in-law came, and so that's 4. My aunt A came, so that's 5. She was the only one I asked and told about it, and she was the only one I wanted to have there. if I was going to have anybody as a representative of my family, I was going to have her there. Um, so that was 5. I'm trying to think. Pastor made 6. Um, we had a photographer and a violinist that my mother-in-law provided, so that made 8. Somebody else made 9, who I didn't know. And somebody else, I don't know. It was like total, it was 11 people. And I was just like, oh, and then including us made 11. So yeah, so 11. So, and that's exactly how many people I had at the first wedding. So I've gotten to the point where I've just accepted that I'm just never going to have a normal giant wedding with people with like all of my family there and all of his family. I'm just never going to have that. And I'm not going to have a traditional dress. I'm just not going to have that. Because that's just not me. I'm just not very traditional, I guess. So, and also you guys can't really see, but, I cut my hair. I shaved it on the side. It's grown back. This has been like a month now. So that's why it's a little scraggly, and it's time for me to wash my hair and do something with it. But, I've been cutting my hair for the past year or so. I started cutting it last May, and so it's now May again. So, what I've been doing is shaving it on the sides, and I shave it all back in the back. So you can kind of sort of see on this side too, it's shaved. It's growing back in. It's growing really fast. So, yeah, I've been shaving it on the sides and in the back, and then I keep my top knot. I have a top knot. And then I, of course, I like my bangs, so I wear my bangs. So it was very vintage mixed with modern, pinup and punk, I guess, was my look. So I had green dress. I had some fishnet stockings I'd ordered, and then I had like gold shoes. And I had, I bought a fascinator. I bought a green fascinator and some gold gloves. So I mixed my accessories and matched with my dress and all of that. So, and we had a lovely time. It took about 15 minutes, which is normal. And, we had it blessed by our church pastor, which is also a thing because I started going to church again. So I joined his church. And I really like his pastor. I really like their approach. I really like the environment there. I have a thing with religion. So I was raised Catholic. I was born and raised Catholic, baptized in a Catholic church, received communion, all of that. I have been confirmed and everything in the Catholic church. Okay. But I kind of fell out with religion a little bit as I was growing up. And I think the final schism came when my aunt died in 1998. So my Aunt Jean, whose house I now own, I partially own it. Where you hear me talk about they're going to have to cart me out of this house like they carted my mama out. Yeah, it's this house. This is the kitchen I'm sitting in, is the kitchen that I grew up in, and I can tell you where I was sitting in the floor at 3 years old eating something I wasn't supposed to be eating out of the refrigerator. So, like, we moved into this house in 1984 with my Aunt Jean. And so, all of that is to tell you that my Aunt Jean had a massive impact on my life. She was basically second mom, and she helped raise me, and like, she taught me how to read. She helped teach me how to read. I look just like her. Like, it's uncanny how much I look like her. Spinning image of her and my grandmother and my Aunt A now, and my mom. So, she was my mom's, next oldest sister. They're separated by 14 months. So, my aunt very suddenly died in 1998. She had moved back to Columbia And she had gotten a really great job, and she was taking care of my granddad. She was living there and taking care of my granddad. And one morning she was getting ready for work, and she had congestive heart failure apparently, and she just dropped dead, literally dropped dead as she was getting ready for work. My mom was the one who found her. My mom was her best friend. So I said, well, what do you mean? She's dead. Like, what do you mean? I don't understand this. I was 17. I had just turned 17. It was the summer right before my senior year of high school. And when I tell you, now I can talk about it because, it's been 23 years since she died. But when it first happened, I completely fell apart. My life fell apart. I don't even remember. I started disassociating from reality. Let's put it that way. I lost track of time. Time just stopped meaning anything. I don't remember. I'm trying to think. I vaguely remember the rest of that summer. Vaguely remember my senior year of high school. I really couldn't tell you what was going on my senior year of high school. Like, I just completely disassociated from reality and time and things that were happening and the people around me. And yeah, I remember bits and pieces. I remember graduating. I remember prom. I remember going. I remember vaguely going and getting a tetanus shot to, for college, because you got to have that updated, and you got to have all your records and things updated. You had to be up to date on your shots and things. I got a tetanus shot, and I vaguely remember that. I vaguely remember the little guy I was dating at the time. That didn't end well either. That was just one more thing on the pile of things. I remember vaguely stuff going on. But I vaguely remember high school graduation. That's one of the things that sticks out in my mind. Is 99 and graduation, but I really don't remember most of it. So, that was a side effect of her dying. I don't know why that happened, necessarily. I think for me with trauma, that happens from time to time. So, I don't know. It was strange. It was a really strange time. It was really confusing. Super painful. I spent a lot of time angry about things. That much I remember. I can remember just being angry about a lot of things. And first and foremost, and the reason why I bring this up and I'm going through all of this detail is because her death caused so much pain and anger that I blocked out a whole year of time, at least for a year. Okay. And I had questions. I had questions about religion. And I had questions that I asked God. I was like, so wait a minute. Let me make sure I got this right. My Aunt Jean, who I'm referring to by name here because, like I say, she's dead. And she's been dead for 23 years. I was like, wait a minute. Let me make sure I got this right. You're going to take my Aunt Jean, the most devout among us. My Aunt Jean was working on a theological degree when she died. She was working on her master's in something, something dealing with religion and theology. She was the one who, if you got that super religious aunt, she was always preaching about being kind, which is why you hear me say that. When you go back and watch my previous videos and you hear me say it don't cost nothing to be kind. It was from her that I learned that. My mama too. But definitely my Aunt Jean. She was the one who stayed on me about being a good person, being a kind person, minding your business, okay? And taking care of family and being there and respecting family and trying to, keep up with your family and stay involved with your family. She was very big on family. And that's because her mama, my grandmother, raised them to be that way. That was because my grandmother came from a large family, but she was also an orphan. So, as was my granddaddy. So, my granddaddy and my grandmama, when they got married, they decided, oh, hey, we're going to have a very large family. And we're going to instill that in these children. They, in turn, instilled it in their children and their nieces and nephews. So, that is why you hear me say all the time, it does not cost anything to be kind. It don't. And it don't cost nothing to mind your business. And not be judgmental and not be all in folk face and trying to project your foolishness on other people. Worry about yourself. And then worry about whether or not somebody else got something going on. That ain't your business. So when y'all hear me say that, that's why you hear me say that all the time. But she very much, and have some manners and, there's a certain thing called etiquette and being a good Christian and godly woman. So when she died, the first thing that came out my mouth was, now wait a minute. So what you mean to tell me is it's okay, we're going to take the most devout and the most kind of all of us? This woman went on a pilgrimage to like the Middle East. She went to Jerusalem. She went to Bethlehem. Like she went in the early 90s and came back with like jugs of water from the Jordan River. And I'm like, I'm just kind of sitting there like, Auntie, that's a bit much. What's going on? I was like, Auntie, what's going on? But as I got older, I realized the significance of it. Like, cause they talk about it in church all the time and Sunday school all the time, especially in the Catholic Church. So these places and what this stuff, you kind of have an idea of what this means, but when you get a little bit older, then it starts making more sense and I was like, wait a minute, she went where? Oh, she went to the most holiest of places? Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, so that's why I said when she died, I was like, wait a minute, you're going to take the most holiest and most devout of us all? And you're going to leave me with these ones here, the ones I've given letters to. You're going to leave me with these ones here who don't care nothing about me? But this one here told my mama, said, come on, you bring the child with you. And bring your other child when we got some room. We'll start having room. But bring the child and you come on. You come over here and you stay over here. You got someplace to go. Don't worry about that. You got someplace to go. So we're going to take the most caring and the most devout of us all. And you're going to leave me with A, D, and R who make up the Gorgon sisters. If you ever seen Hercules, Disney's Hercules, the sisters of fate who have the threads of fate, yeah, that's them. And they share the eye among them, yeah, that's them. You're going to leave me with them three who at least two of those three do not give a damn about me. But you're going to take the one that actually does. Oh, all right. So I got questions. I need to have some answers. And there were no answers forthcoming. At least then. It didn't even... To a child, that's not going to make sense. And I had the mind of a child at that point. I was 17. That ain't no adult. Listen, they might tell you an adult, but you ain't no adult. You have the mind of a child and you cannot grasp adult things such as that. That was also... And it wasn't my first time dealing with death. However, it was the first death that was shocking and was unexpected and was not normal. My grandmother had died 2 years before that, but my grandmother was also 69 years old and in terrible health. And as much as it saddened me and I missed my grandma, and I still miss my grandma to this day. Listen, Sometimes I want to pick up the phone and call her and be like, Grandma, you need me to, you need me to come over there. You need anything. You need me to bring you something. And then it occurs to me, my grandma been dead if my aunt been dead 23 years, my grandma been dead 25. So I have to get my mind right on that. But grandma dying wasn't, I won't say it didn't impact me, but it didn't have the impact that, say, my Aunt Jean. So when I tell y'all, the impact, the loss of her was so great and so profound that I lost my way. So yeah. So all of that is to say that living here in her house is that's a thing. That's a thing. I've lived here now for a number of years. We moved back over here right after she died. And we moved back over here the next year when I graduated from high school. Matter of fact, the day I graduated from high school, we moved back over here. I lived here all through college. Then I moved out on my own. I moved back in 2008, which is coincidentally the year I found Brandon again. And then I moved again. I moved back out of the house. I moved home for a job, and my mom was like, "You come here and you live here, and you be here rent free. Don't worry about that. My child will never pay rent in this house." And she made it so that I never would have to. So I moved back here when she got sick in 2014, and in 2012, and so I've been here. I moved back here in 2014. She got sick in 2012, and I moved back here in 2014 permanently to take care of her, and then I was going to live here in the house, and I've been here ever since. So I've been here since March 1st, 2014. So yeah. I'm in a much better place now. And I wanted to remark on the fact that when I first started doing Darkgirl Chronicles, that was December 31st, 2012. I was in the process of getting a divorce. I didn't think I was going to get married again. I had no plans one way or the other. My immediate thought then was, I need to get a divorce and I need to finalize this. And I had already gone through the process. As a matter of fact, my court hearing was scheduled for the next 2 weeks after that. And then I was divorced. And you guys saw that on camera. So that was January 8th, 2013. So at that time, I did not think I was going to get married again. Brandon and I hadn't even started. We were casually dating, but we weren't like official just yet. And then April 2013, you guys saw me talk about, being, starting to date him and like officially date him and, start slowly having another romantic relationship with somebody. And it was good. Our entire relationship, and yes, there have been some rough spots from time to time, but nothing as bad as, say, my first marriage. We get along really well. We are super happy, and I'm going to tell you guys on camera, I am super happy and super content here. I wake up every day happy. And a lot of that is because, I make my own happiness, but I'm happy. I can sit here and I can tell you that. And I don't have to justify it to anybody, which was my whole point with my aunts. I don't have to justify anything to y'all. I don't owe you an explanation. I don't need to give you an explanation. I'm the person who got to wake up every day and roll over and look at that man every day. And guess what? I'm very happy to do so. I've never not been. I can't think of a time where I absolutely was unhappy. And it wasn't a temporary, hey, this is a problem we have, we need to fix this, like right now type of thing. There's never been a long-term unhappiness. And my main point, and the point that I've been trying to make with all of this family drama and foolishness and fuckery, is that out of all of the foolishness and fuckery that I have been through, from the point that my husband, my first husband, walked out on me, my mama getting sick 4 months later, or at least finding out that she was sick 4 months later, to dealing with my mom's illness, going through a divorce, quitting my job, moving back home, taking care of my mom in the last year of her life, my mom dying, and having to start all over again in my career, get another job, take over the house. My relationship with my father is terrible. Like, that was over the span of about 4 years, almost 5 years. You mean to tell me that I'm not supposed to experience any type of happiness after that? Like, apparently I'm just not supposed to be happy. I don't understand people. Like, I don't understand that mentality. I guess I'm supposed to just stay angry and disillusioned, and I can't work that out for myself, and I cannot fix my situation. I'm supposed to just remain alone and angry and unhappy, I guess. I don't get them at all. I don't understand. Like, I'm serious when I tell y'all, apparently that's what's supposed to happen here. For example, I called okay, let me back up a little bit. So the day of the wedding, I got my stuff together. We got up, we got dressed. I did not eat anything except popcorn all day, which I was intending to eat breakfast and didn't. So, we get out there. The ceremony was at like 4:00. So we get out there. He and I get over to the church. The church is 5 minutes away from our house. And so, we get over to the church. My mother-in-law, of course, has to, and let me back up a little bit too, before we get to the day of. Just know that in the time before, like the 6 weeks before our actual, like, date that we, chose and all, my mother-in-law had to be a pain in the ass. I have already described the type of person we dealing with here. She, for whatever reason, keep in mind now, remember I told you guys that she did not want to be involved in wedding planning. Remember, she said, no, I don't want to be involved. You need to ask your aunts. I was like, all right, fine. All right. So then I went and got a planner. So me and the planner talked, and we're going to have to do a whole new contract, because basically my contract is done with her. We're not having a wedding, so we got to do a whole nother thing for her services and figure out what we need to do, because we're going to have reception next year. So anyway, the 6 weeks beforehand, keep in mind what I just told y'all about my mother-in-law, about not wanting to be involved. Here she come. Y'all, I swear on God that this woman worked on my nerves so much. I asked Brandon beforehand, I said, do you want your parents to come to this? Because I really don't want, I'm not going to have people there. I wasn't planning to have my people there. I was really just intending for this to be like 3 people, maybe at most. And then that was it. Like, I really kind of just wanted his sister there to be done with it. But all right. So he says, yeah, I guess we need to tell my mom and dad. And I kind of do want my mom and dad there. All right, cool. His sister, great. Oh, and we're going to get to other sister-in-law in a minute too. Other sister-in-law, great. I love her to death. She's one of my favorite people. Just the absolute sweetest thing. And it's fixing to be a doctor. She's working on a doctorate in management, I think. She's doing something. She's working on a doctorate. But she's not going to be like a physician doctor. But yeah, she's starting doctoral program. So I'm like, yay! I'm so excited for her. She's so awesome. I love her to death. She's one of my favorite people. So I said, well, okay, sister-in-law gonna be there, fine. If you want your mom and daddy there, fine. All right, so 6 people, okay? Max, we were talking about max 10. But I said, all right, 6 people. Well, here come mother-in-law. Well, you need to have, oh God, all right. Like, I'm just like, no, we don't need to have. I didn't ask you to do all of this extra stuff. Why are you bugging us about this? Then it was she kept nagging about having the Lord's Prayer inserted into this ceremony. Now, keep in mind, if you will recall, maybe about 2 episodes ago, no, last episode, I described the foolishness about the ceremony needed to be more than 15 minutes or else it wasn't a Christian ceremony. I was like, girl, bye. First of all, we're going to have your pastor do it. Like, I didn't even need to tell you that part, but fine. So you be quiet. We're going to have your pastor do it. So automatically, I'm going to go ahead and say it's a Christian ceremony. That's number 1. Number 2, why are you involving yourself in this? We've already talked to her about what we want in our program. This is our ceremony. We've already decided on these things. You don't need to be involved. You just barely invited. Why are you trying to insert yourself and change things? Oh, so I said, okay, fine. So I had already talked to our pastor and I said, can you please these are the things we would like in this ceremony. And, you know, I would really like certain things in here. And I made sure I had inserted leave and cleave. God. And I'm like, okay, tone deaf motherfucker, she's talking to you. Like I wanted to turn and be like, you know, she's talking to you, right? You need to be paying the most attention out here. But I didn't do that because my mama raised me better than that. So my mama raised me to be a much kinder person than that and to not be antagonistic and rude. But it was like, so she kept bugging me about that. So finally I had to just be like, we've already had this inserted in the program. It does not matter where you think it should go. Where I want it to go is where it's going to go. Okay? If you don't like it, don't come. And I don't need any of the stuff that you're providing. None of it is necessary to what we're doing here. So that was a thing. Then, and let me tell you about how people do. I'm going to tell y'all about how people do. So Brandon already had a suit. He had a nice tan suit. And I said, oh, that'll be perfect. You already got it in the closet and all you need to do is have it clean and it fits. All right, that's what we're going to use. So that's what we did. So I said, you know, trying to be nice and be a nice person. I said, all right, go ahead. Let me take a picture of you in this suit and I send it to you, mammy. That's what I did. Y'all. She ain't even reply back to the text. No, she runs to his daddy. Didn't I tell y'all about the triangulation and running back and forth to daddy? She runs to his daddy, tells his daddy, well, I just don't like this suit. I don't like how this suit is looking and I don't like how this suit fits. Y'all need to discuss suits. First of all, see, this is what I get for being nice. This is what I get for being nice. First of all, if you had a problem with it, why didn't you come back to me? Or why didn't you come back to Brandon? I was the one who sent you the picture. You wouldn't have even known what color the suit was or what it looked like until the day of, if I hadn't sent you that picture. I was trying to be nice and include your ass in the experience. Because this is as close as you're getting. You're not getting any closer. So you know what? From now on, I'm not going to be nice. I'm not reaching out. I'm not going to do a kind thing and try to involve you. You fixing to take yourself out of the whole equation. So then his daddy calls him and says, well, we need to talk about suits. And I was like, no, we don't. And Brandon said, no, we don't. We don't need to talk about suits. What's the problem with the suit? Well, your mother said right there, automatically, no, that's not what we're going to do. So he told his daddy. So what my wife was trying to do was be nice and send her a picture so she could at least see me in my suit and see, you know what I'm saying? Experience that part of getting ready to get married. Okay. You know what? We didn't have to do that. And it behoove you to stop listening to mama, because mama finna mess everybody's stuff up. So then he called his mother and told her, knock it off. I didn't ask you to do that. I didn't need you to do that at all. We already had this covered. And she, of course, got defensive, so he hung up on her. And I said, see, that's what you get. Because you had no business getting involved and overstepping. Nobody asked you to do any of that. Like, all we asked you to do was show up. Literally, that's it. Just show up. We wasn't asking you to pay for nothing. We wasn't asking you to supply nothing. We wasn't asking you to get involved and pick out no suits and none of that. None of that. We didn't ask you to do any of that. But here you are over-involving yourself and making a nuisance of yourself. And on top of that, you're rude. I said, see, you do too much. You are way too damn extra and you do too damn much. And you go too far all the time. So the suit was not an issue because that's the suit we went with. This was about maybe two or 3 weeks before we got married. So I said, I don't want to hear nothing else about this suit. I don't want to hear nothing else about this ceremony from her. I don't want to hear from her. Either you're going to come and you're going to behave yourself and you're going to show up and do what you're supposed to do as the mother of the groom, which is sit your ass there and be quiet, or you don't come. As simple as that. Okay. So now we get to the day of. So it was quiet after that. After the whole Lord's Prayer. It was quiet after that. So the day of, we get out there. So we finally get there. We got there about 2 minutes till 4. Because I was rushing to get ready and, you know. So, and he was getting his stuff together and, you know, we got dressed and all. So we went over to the site. We pull up and here's her mouth as soon as we get out the car. Well, it's nice of you to join us. You barely on time. Y'all, that was my face. I was like, Brandon, get your mama. I was like, Brandon, get your mama. And I said, we are well aware of what time it is. Insert mother-in-law's name. I said, we are well aware of what time it is. Thanks. I was like, first of all, we are on time. We pulled in the parking lot. It was 3:58. I remember looking at the clock and saying, oh, look, there, we on time. We actually made it in time. We got out the car and we were literally up there and ready to go at 4 o'clock on the dot. I mean, so right there, she already started out on the wrong foot. So the whole time, first of all, aside from running her mouth way too much, She shows up in a white dress with blue flowers on it. And I'm like, you would be the one to do that. I don't give a damn if it was a mostly blue but white dress. It's white. You do not show up at a wedding, no matter how small it might be. You do not show up in a white dress. Period. Okay? For somebody who sitting up here nagging me about etiquette and doing all this extra ass shit, you sure don't seem to have etiquette, manners, and skills of your own. Because common sense should tell you you don't show up in a damn white dress to anybody's wedding. You don't. That's so country and ill-mannered and no class. It's tacky. It's incredibly tacky, and it makes you look very small. Very small and petty and silly. She's just goofy as fuck all the time. Just be doing goofy stuff like this. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I just kind of made that face when I actually saw what she had on. I was just like, this bitch. She wore a white dress. Are you serious? Okay. Meanwhile, bride has on green. No one else out there has on white. She the only one. And I was like, you no class, no count, bitch. Oh, God, I hate you. Like, I bit my tongue, though. I didn't say anything about it because I was just like, that's your mama. He knew exactly. And somebody else we talked to, one of his friends, had come over and he was helping cut the grass and all. His friend was like, wait, she wore a white dress with blue flowers on it? It was a white dress, though. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah, she needed to be the center of attention, didn't she? Yep. Bride at every wedding, corpse at every funeral. Because that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the type of person who has to be the center of attention at all times. And I'm going to tell y'all, on that day, she did not fail in letting everybody know that. You know, I could just see his stepmother, who I had some issues with her previously. Very mild issues, but issues nonetheless. You could just see it on her face like, yeah. You could tell that she was just over the whole thing, and she was already used to this foolishness and fuckery on Branda's mother's part. Like, you could tell she was just over it. But it was like, who does that? Oh, and she, of course, did not show up in a white dress because she know better. She had on a hot pink dress, which was really pretty. It was really cute. She had on a hot pink dress, and it was very nice for a small ceremony where you're not the mother of the bride. Okay, she was appropriately dressed. His mother was not, and I was just like, oh my God. She was the one who we thought probably would be the problem here. It's not her. It's not my stepmother-in-law. No, it's not her at all. So, and I promise you, nobody else out there had on white except the pastor. And I was just like, you would be the one who would do this. So, we had a good time though. Oh, and during the ceremony, like, we had a good time otherwise. And it was, I mean, we were so excited, and it was like, finally we did this. So we said vows, and he gave a speech. So after the, pastor said, was there anything you want to say, before, I pronounce you guys? And so he took, we were already holding hands because, you hold each other's hands when you're standing up there and, at the altar, and, he spoke, and he said he started speaking, the way he started speaking was toward me. And I'm just like, like, I'm just kind of making that face like, what is happening right now? I was not expecting him to do that. He did not tell me he was going to do that. So I was kind of taken off guard and was like, what is happening right now? So yeah. So then he then turns to the audience and he's just like, okay, check this out. You people are not going to sit up here and feud. This is done as of today, right now. You're going to stop antagonizing each other. You're going to stop antagonizing my wife, because she's my wife. She's been my wife. This is just a formality. This is literally a legal formality that we have to do in order to have things recognized. But basically, she's been my wife now for years. So, and you know this. It's not as if this just sprang up yesterday. So, I'm going to need y'all to knock it off. And everybody out here is now family. So stop. And that was for everybody out there, but mostly for his mama and daddy. And I was like, ditto. I was like, ditto. Because I agree with everything he said. I was like, oh my Lord. I love this man, because this needed to be said a long time ago. You just couldn't get everybody in one room. Then you had everybody, because by the way, this was outside. This was not inside the church. We could not have it outside. We couldn't have it in the church at all. Because not everybody was fully vaccinated. Most everybody, like I was partially vaccinated. He's fully vaccinated. Aunt A had gotten her second shot that day, so she wasn't fully vaccinated just yet. And I think everybody else out there had been vaccinated too, had been at least partially. So yeah, we didn't know who was what and all, and we didn't want to take the chance. So and they wouldn't allow us to have it inside anyway. So thankfully the weather cooperated too. So we were outside when he said all of this, and so I said ditto, and she pronounced us and said, you can kiss your bride. He kind of like, wait, I can kiss her? So you finished? Did you pronounce us? And she was like, yeah, I pronounced you. You can go ahead. So he gave me a kiss. It was really sweet. And she pronounced us as Mr. and Mrs. So, and I guess since I am taking his last name, I have changed it online for certain things. I've not changed it on any of my accounts. I haven't changed it on my driver's license. None of that. I'm getting around to it. I was waiting for my tax return to come back. Because I was like, I need to get that back before I change my bank accounts and all of that over. And because you don't want it to be in one name and your bank account is in another. So that's why I've been waiting to do that. And I got my refund like last month at the very end of the month. So I can do it now. I haven't changed it at work, but I changed it like in my email signature and all. And I announced it at work so they know I'm married now. Which is weird because that job, no one knew me with my married name. I started that job. I'd already changed my name 2 months before that. So I've always been Hicks at my job. So it's a little weird. It's a little weird seeing married name on things now, but yeah, I haven't changed my name yet, but I'm getting around to it. So I guess I will start using my new last name in Darkgirl Chronicles, wherever I have to use my name. So my actual name now is Lindsay Beatty, like the actor Warren Beatty. So yeah, but it's been cool. We've been married a month now as of yesterday. Officially married a month, and it's been wonderful. It was a little weird at first because it was like, wait, we are actually married now. Like, I've been referring to him as my husband for years, but no, we are legally married now. And he, of course, he's getting used to wearing his ring. I've been wearing a ring now for years. So, and like I say, I wore my ring previously. So, I have, I'm used to it, but he, of course, was not. So, we took pictures, and at the end of this video, I'm going to put them in like a little slideshow. And, we took a few little pictures at the house. Cause like I say, mother-in-law had, a photographer out there. So she has official pictures from the ceremony. I don't think anybody did any video or anything. I would have liked to have had some video, but it is what it is. We'll do that when we renew our vows and we actually have a bigger wedding ceremony and thing, when we renew. But, and we're going to have pictures and things at the reception. So, next year. But yeah, she has the official pictures and all. So, we took a bunch of family photos. My mom, I had a picture of my mom out there, and you'll see in these photos at the very end, in the slideshow that, we did some when we did them at the house. I used my little tripod that I'm using right now. And I had a little, I have a little thing where I can start and stop, and I can take photos remotely. It's a little remote for that. So, yeah, I did some photos at the house, and I took them of us. So, and I think they turned out really well, and I toned them in Photoshop. So, I was very excited. So after, we went to Olive Garden. We got Olive Garden to go. Because I wasn't going down and sitting in a restaurant anywhere because I wasn't fully vaccinated. And I'm still not going to a restaurant even though I'm fully vaccinated. Not sitting in a restaurant. Oh, no. That'll be a couple of years from now before I do that. Maybe the earliest I might do it is this reception coming up next year. And that's saying I don't have to get a booster shot. So, yeah, like I was not going in a restaurant. So, we wound up, just getting it to go. And, his dad gave us some champagne and we got some Moscato to go with our meal. And we drank the Moscato and we came home and yeah, went to bed. I was so tired. I've been up all day. I hadn't taken any of my medication. And on top of that, I was drinking alcohol and I hadn't had anything to eat. I had the worst headache the next day. Oh, and I had taken the day off from work, and because it was on a Thursday, and I took that Friday off the next day. I'm so glad I did because I had the worst headache the next day. So I had a long weekend too. Back at work on Monday. So because I couldn't go anywhere. It's not like I can go on vacation anywhere. I could now that I'm fully vaccinated, and he is too, but I still don't want to travel anywhere. Like, I don't want to travel. Even though, CDC's like, oh, well, you still got to wear a mask when you're on public transportation. Oh, all right, cool. But I ain't going anywhere because I don't trust people. People nasty. So, there's that. But we had a good time. We had a really good time. So, on the family front, let me tell you what happened there. So Aunt A was invited. I did not invite anybody else. I didn't tell anybody else in my family that we were getting married. I just didn't see the need to do so. I mean, why? When not a year earlier, y'all done cussed me out and told me that you didn't want to be bothered and that you didn't care. Why? Why would I invite you? Why would I call you and tell you that I'm getting married? You already know. Not only do you already know, but you already told me how you felt. So I didn't see no need to call and tell anybody, to be quite honest. I really did not. I didn't feel that it was any of their business, to be quite honest. They'd made so much of an ass of themselves that it was just like, yeah, nah, never mind. Forget that I mentioned anything about it. You don't need to come at all. As a matter of fact, I don't want you there. So, Aunt A was the only one, and she barely got told. I told her maybe about 2 weeks before, and I was just like, okay, so by the way, we're going to get married, probably on the 15th. about 4 o'clock in the afternoon at the church. So if you want to come, come. If you don't feel obligated that you must. And she was like, no, I'll come. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. Like, I was just like, all right, I guess. I mean, I wasn't going to be jumping up and down excited. She came to the first one at the last minute. So, I mean, I was like, all right. I guess. So after the ceremony, let me tell you how people do. After the ceremony, she gonna say to me, well, did you tell anybody else? No. Why? Weren't you sitting out there when they showed their ass? Weren't you one of the ones who said, well, we just want to come to the reception? And that's what you said? So why would I tell you? You barely got told, but why would I tell anybody else? She was like, well, you can't cut all your family out. The fuck I came for 500, Alex. God bless Alex Trebek's rude little soul. But, I mean, what you mean I can't cut my family out? What you mean I can't? As easy as 1, 2, 3. Like, them people get on my nerves. So she gonna say, well, we were all down in Atlanta. Okay, well, good for you. Like, that's part of the reason why you was the only person who knew anyway. First of all, I wasn't running to Atlanta, but she says, we were all down in Atlanta for Easter, and I mentioned to them then that you were getting married. Oh, okay, all right. Well, I really didn't want you to do that. There's a reason why ain't nobody here but you. Because if I wanted them to know, I would have told them. I didn't need you to tell them that. They was going to find out one way or the other. I mean, like, I didn't need you to do all that, first of all. Second of all, how did you know that I wanted them to know? Obviously, I didn't. Because if I did, I would have told more than just you. Clearly, I didn't want them to know. Like, why are you taking it upon yourself to try to insert me back into the family? Why? What's the point? When I'm dead, y'all talk shit all the time. You sit up here and you're resentful and just stupid acting for no reason other than you mad because you don't have what somebody else has. And you know the shit that they done been through. You know they done been through trauma. You gonna sit up here and add to the misery and then be mad because they don't want to fuck with you. All right. Y'all stupid. What I'm not finna do is sit up here and be y'all punching bag. That's number one. Number two, I'm not running to Atlanta. No. First of all, I don't want to be around y'all like that. Second of all, partially vaccinated. Wasn't fully vaccinated. Don't want to catch COVID. Don't want to be around you motherfuckers because I don't trust none of you. You would be the motherfuckers to give me fucking COVID and then be like, oh, well, it's your fault that you caught it. It's your fault. Well, nobody told you to come down here. See, there you go. So when she said all that, I was just like, yeah, no, I wasn't in no rush to tell nobody and I didn't need them to know. And that was that. Like I say, she barely was one that I even told. Because it was just like... And the only reason why I told her was because... And I told her what day and what time was because she is the last tie that I have to my mama. That's it. She really is. I don't count them other people. They're not ties. And they're not family. I mean, since y'all so busy reminding me what my last name is not... and she about the only one that halfway keep up with me. And that's when she feel like being bothered. She'd sit there every so often. She'll talk my damn ear off. And then, it might be weeks before I talk to her again. Like I talked to her yesterday because I've been going to her house because I don't have internet at my house right now. So, and I have not had it for like a week and some change. So, I kind of have to have internet to do my job. And my only other option, because I've been working from home for the last year, but my only other option is to go to the office, which kind of defeats the purpose of working from home. And them people nasty at that job. So I don't trust them. Can't trust it. So I've been going to her house, and she lives 15 minutes from me. So I was like, all right, well, I'll be over here in the morning. I'll be here, working, doing my shift. She's generally at the office, and she's working. And then I go back home. But other than that, I don't really, I'm not trying to be all up in folk face. If you have let me know, and this has been my thing with Aunt A my entire life, she too co-owns this house now. But she and I used to live in the same house for many, many years. She is the reason why I have crippling social anxiety right now. Because when somebody consistently tells you, if anything, she is consistent in her fuckery. When I tell you, I could always count on a couple of things. That my mama loved me, that my brother was an asshole, and my Aunt A was going to be hostile and an asshole too. I can count on those things. So when I tell y'all, from the time I was about 3 years old up until when my mama died, I was 33 years old. When I tell y'all, I was used to her just being outright hostile. Hostile was being nice. I could be in another part of this house, minding my little black ass business, chilling. And I might cough wrong, and she'd be like, well, what are you doing? You're making too much noise. Why are you always in the way? That kind of thing. So when somebody does that consistently your whole life, yeah, you're going to have some problems with anxiety about being in the way, about being a burden, about bothering people. To this day, like, I have friends that I don't go hang out with because I'm always consistently worried that I'm bothering them, or that I'm in their way, or that I'm getting on their nerves, or they don't really want to talk to me because reasons. So I just don't even bother. And it's because of her and him, because my fucktard of a brother would do it also. And the reason why he would do it, well, they would encourage him to do it. Well, we don't see the problem with what he said. So you're okay with somebody literally treating another human being like garbage. Oh, all right. And being resentful of that person's existence. Oh, all right. Now you see why the problem was in the previous episodes where I talked about why I can't stand my family and why I hate my brother. So there is no tie to my mother. She's the last tie, really. She about the only one in older age, now that I'm an adult. In older age, yeah, she's mellowed out considerably. But I still am just like, oh, and by the way, it was just me. Wasn't any of the other grandkids or the other nieces and nephews. And none of them. Just me. Just me. So I'm like, in older age, guess what? As an adult, I don't have to put up with this. I can go back over to my house that I paid for. Where I live in peace and quiet. Where I don't have to put up with family. Y'all can fuck all the way off. So now you see why I had so much of an issue when they was running their mouth and doing all this yapping at my aunt's funeral. My Aunt Vanessa's funeral. Last June. So yeah, when she said that, talking about, oh, well, you can't cut all your family off. You lucky you here. Okay? You lucky I picked up the phone and was like, oh, hey, by the way. Because you would have found out on Facebook like some of the other folks did. So then she tells me that she had mentioned this to the family. So this is getting to present day now. Yesterday, I talked to Aunt D. Aunt D has been consistently against me getting married. She herself is unmarried. Okay. Which is where we get into the projection part of things. And I'm like, baby, if you want to be unmarried and child free, guess what? That's your business. I don't have no problem with that. Like, I'm not going to sit here and judge you and call you an old maid or, frump or whatever. I'm not going to do that to you. That's your business. But that's your business. That's not my business. And your hang-ups are not my hang-ups. And she is the one I have consistently had to have this talk about. And then when I called her ass out on it, in my house, mind you, in my house, she was already mad because when she came over here, first of all, she brought these chaps with her. And I was just like, why did you bring these kids with you? Like, I was just kind of sitting there making that face. I'm not against children, but I don't want to be all up underneath other people's kids all the time. I don't need to be all up underneath people's kids. And one of these children in particular talk too much. And it gets on my nerves. But I'm not impolite to the child because the child is a child. Unlike some of these aunts, particularly Aunt A, I'm not going to be an asshole to a child. Okay? I'm just not going to do that. But this child, I'm just like... So, but I just don't say anything. I'm just like, all right. Well, you need to hurry and leave my house now. So anyway, she comes over here and she was mad because her sister is dead. The sister that I guess she felt particularly close to, my mom, is dead. My mom's urn is in my living room. Like, over, you guys can't see, but I'm pointing that way. It's over there. Okay, that is going to be her resting spot for a little bit until we finish things we need to finish in the house. Okay, so she was already mad that the ashes were here in the urn in the house. She was mad about that. And she was mad when she walked in the door. And I was like, but nobody told you to come over here. I didn't invite you over here. You just showed up at my house. I wasn't expecting visitors. So there was that. Then she's in here. She mad because of that. I guess she was mad because living room was the same. I don't know what her deal was, but it was just like, why did you come over here? I didn't ask you to come over here. And I remember Brandon was on the way home from work. And I had just gotten home, I think, and I was on school break, so I wasn't in school. But it was just like, why are you over here? Why did you come over here mad up? You could have stayed your ass right where you was. You didn't need to come over here and ruin my evening. Number one. Two, pick a fight over some shit you can't do nothing about. She dead. You need to accept that and get over it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you how you need to get over it and when exactly you need to get over it, but you need to get over it. And don't come to my damn house with this. Like, I was already, because our relationship is not good as it is. I don't know, over the years it's just gotten terrible. So it's like everything I do, she got to nitpick me and criticize, and it apparently annoys the shit out of her that I'm an adult. Like, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, baby. But I'm going to make adult decisions because guess what? I'm an adult. So every little thing is a problem and a nitpick and a criticism. And it's like, oh God, you got to be the most negative and annoying fucking person on the face of this earth. Can I not just exist? Jesus H. Christ. It's like, I'm serious. I'm just like, oh God. Being around her is exhausting. It's exhausting and infuriating. So I just don't do it. So I don't go to Atlanta because she's the one that lives in Atlanta. Her and my Aunt Vanessa used to live together in Atlanta. And while I might have some sympathy for her, a lot of the time, no. Because it's just like, no. Damn, just be quiet. If you don't have anything nice to say, just be quiet. Meanwhile, you out here nitpicking the shit out of me. You need to be nitpicking these fucking other cousins and nieces who are out here just doing dumb shit. Like, absolute dumb shit that don't make sense. Go nitpick the shit out of them. No, you just pick me because you think I'm the easiest fucking target. Because you know them other ones gonna tell you to fuck off. Like, that's why you come and pick with me. So I just limit my exposure. So she has consistently been nagging the shit out of me about, well, you shouldn't be spending all this money on this wedding. Okay, but my husband's the one who won't spend all this money on this wedding. I'm just giving the man what he asked for. And if he want to do that and he want to have a big wedding because he wants to marry me of all people, well, great. You know what? That's his choice. Fuck out of here. Just because you wouldn't do that don't mean it's wrong. So she was the one. So when she came over here, she was being obnoxious. And it was just like, okay, listen. I get it. You mad. Your sister's gone. I get that. I get it. But there ain't nothing I can do about it. There ain't nothing you can do about it either. And nitpicking me to death, not endearing me to you. It's not. It does not make me want to spend time with you. It don't make me care about you anymore. It don't make me care any more about what's going on with you. It does not make me want to come see you. It don't make me pick up the phone and call you either. As a matter of fact, it does the opposite. Okay? You are unsupportive. You're rude. You're mean-spirited. I don't have time for this. I have too much going on. And I got to deal with too much with trying to get past this right here and keep my shit going here and move past a couple other things that I got going on the back burner that, affect my mental health and my emotional health. You are the least of my problems right now. So I need you to knock it the fuck off and get out of my house. So, needless to say, all of a sudden it was like, what do you mean I'm unsupportive? I was like, girl, don't even try. Stop it. Stop. You are not supportive. This is not helping. This is also the same person, by the way. And then had the nerve to tell me, don't ever tell me that I'm not supportive of you. Girl, you are not supportive. I would never, ever come to you for support. Ever. Never. I would never. She would be the last person I picked up the phone and called. And Aunt A is probably the second least person that I would not call. Like in the hierarchy of aunts there. She number one. Aunt A is going to be the second person I would not call. Well, Aunt R is not even on that list because we're just not even going to bother. Aunt D was the person who literally, and I want y'all to hear me when I tell y'all, this is the point at which, this was my breaking point, and this was years ago. When my husband walked out on me, my first husband walked out on me, she called me randomly. I think Mama may have told her what was going on. Y'all, she literally paused when I confirmed, yes, he did, in fact, leave me. He walked out on me. I'm all right. I'm taking care of myself. But yeah, my marriage is imminently over. This woman literally said, one, she never cared for him. But what did you do to cause this? Because it had to have been something you did. Yeah. That's what we're dealing with. She literally basically told me it was my fault. And I must have caused this man to just up and leave. Couldn't have been just all him. Had to have been something you did too. Knowing you. And I was like, oh. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's what we're dealing with. At that point, that was my breaking point, and I said, never again. I will never, ever consider your opinion on anything. I will never ask you for help. I will never go to you for anything. So when my mama got sick, I didn't pick up the phone and call her because I didn't care. Didn't need to. Yeah. Absolutely not. I didn't ask her for any help. Wasn't going to ask her for any help. And all the stuff that she had to do with my mama's estate, she did that because she was asked to do that by my mother. It wasn't because I absolutely needed her support. I didn't lean on her. Yeah. So yeah, that's the kind of person we're dealing with here. So anyway, present day. So I talked to her yesterday. And I said, well, I know Aunt A must have talked about, she mentioned that I got married. And she was like, no, she ain't tell me. So immediately, I'm like, why did Aunt A tell me that? Number one. Number two, you sure maybe you just didn't forget that she told you? Like, why would you even tell me that you told her then? So, yeah, apparently, yeah, she didn't. Aunt A must have mentioned it to everybody else, but she ain't mentioned it to Aunt D while she was at Aunt D's house. I was like, well, what was the point? You could have just not said anything then. Oh, dealing with these people is just like, grate on my nerves. Now I see why my mama wasn't exactly close with. My mom was just like, family, 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 but sometimes. Because some of these people, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on with y'all? Y'all are why I hate people. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I spend a lot of the time just sitting here doing this right here. Between my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, and my family, my side of the family, with my mama's side, I do a lot of this a lot of the time. Because it's just like, oh my God. It literally is like, oh my God, there's something wrong with y'all. But yeah, I don't even know what to tell you. Like, it's like, why would you even go through all of that to tell me that? Why would you tell me that dealing with this and you know how they feel? That was my first question. I was like, you know how these people feel about this. Why are you trying to tell me that I need to include these people? Why? So Cousin T can sit there and show her ass even more? Because, wow, my mother-in-law was so busy trying to be the center of attention and praise. Lord have mercy, people wasn't just giving her enough effusive praise. No, we got to praise you even more. I'm like, oh, God. Between her and her need for attention and just running her mouth on wheels, you got it would have been Cousin T in there just got to be the center of attention too, because God knows we can't pay attention to somebody else but you. Otherwise, you jealous about it and you going to nitpick and make these little snarky, passive-aggressive comments while your dumb ass done self-sabotaged yourself so much that, well, you need to be the last person talking about anybody doing anything. I'm just like, shut up. You need to be the last person talking about anything and being mad about something that ain't got nothing to do with you. You need to be the last person worried about that. Worry about yourself, because you got more problems to deal with than what's going on here. This ain't important. Lord. I was like, why I need her there? So she can yap the whole time and say stupid shit? Because she clearly is jealous? Why would I need to? Why? She made the whole damn planning process a pain in the ass. Why? You ain't answered that question yet. Why it is I need to include her in a damn thing at this point. Because see, and this was my thing. I made my bridal party based on the fact that if I didn't include my cousins, it would have been a shit show. I would have heard nonstop about, well, we need to be included in things. Okay. I include you, but it's nice and inconvenience on your part. I'm inconveniencing you. I was like, I could have asked my sister-in-law. I could have asked my work bestie. I could have asked my work bestie more of a sister than half of you. I could have asked I could have asked one of my sisters. I could have asked, there were so many other people I could have asked and replaced these people. I could have asked my niece. My niece told me at the funeral last year, she was like, oh, Auntie, I wish you would have asked me. I would have done it. And I was like, oh, I didn't think you want to be bothered with all of this, but I wished I'd asked the baby before I asked these fuckers. They get on my nerves. Because if we're not the center of attention and things are not about us, we got to make it be a problem for the person who it is about, in fact. So, wedding went fine. We had a lovely time. Now we're just planning for next year. Real quickly, other sister-in-law, the one who I had some issues with, we talked to her after the ceremony, and she was just as sweet. I was like, oh, now you want to be sweet, because I done married him now. Oh, okay, all right. She's a trip. I mean, she's actually if you can get past I'd be posting up so I can pretend to be one way. If you can get past that, she's actually really cool. And I actually like her. I was like, where was this when I met you? Where was this? Because you was an asshole when I met you. I mean, was an absolute and complete asshole for no reason. And I was just like, girl, stop it. I done known your brother longer than you've been alive. Stop. Like, stop. Almost as long. But it was just like, oh my God. But she's actually really cool. I actually really like her. I guess getting married was what they needed to work that out amongst themselves and not be jerks. But yeah, we had a good time. Wedding was cool. Vaccinated. Might not necessarily die of the Rona now. I'm trying not to work in the office ever. I like working from home. If I could ever get reliable internet, that would be great. I don't know, not much else going on. Oh, my dad decided he wasn't going to congratulate me the day after. He gets on Facebook and makes this long post, and it included such gems as, no, I'm not dying, but you should hug your kids, and we all make mistakes in raising our children. I was like, this is so convenient that it came right after I got married, that you wasn't invited to. I was like, woo, we got a good old case of Christmas cancer, and woe is me, and pay attention to me, and my child got married and I wasn't included because I'm a jerk to my kid. Oh, I'm such a terrible father. But I meant well. But pay attention to me because Christmas cancer. Yeah, I already know what that's about. That's like dealing with my aunts. That's what that's like dealing with. So I just don't even, it really actually not even dealing with my aunts. My aunts are just a warm up. My mother-in-law is the more better analogy to dealing with him. Because dealing with her is like dealing with him. She just more outright with her maliciousness. His is more behind the scenes. And I'm going to try to guilt trip you even though I'm in the wrong and I do all this unnecessary, ridiculous shit and I hurt people for no reason. It's your fault. You should still let it slide though. You should let it slide. And if you don't let it slide, but why you got to keep bringing up the past? Yeah, that's what I deal with my daddy. With my mother-in-law, it's very much, I'm going to be passive-aggressive, rude, and obnoxious, and I'm going to insult you and then wonder why you don't want to be bothered with me and then be mad because you don't want to be bothered with me. That's her deal. It's two sides of the same coin. So knowing how to deal with him is how I deal with her. And I do very well with dealing with both of them because I just don't bother. Why? And I don't need to. So anyway, this is relatively short for me. But I'll be back later. Gonna start a new season in a little bit. Only got a few more episodes to go of this season. Hope I can do this a little bit more often. But I want to thank you guys for watching. I'll be back later. Deuces.